Redstone is one of the most powerful and also one of the most complicated subjects in Minecraft. I know personally I have seen a ton of videos on redstone basics, but none of them have really worked for me that well. So I'm making the ultimate redstone guide for beginners, so that hopefully this is the last video you'll have to watch. Let's get into it. The first redstone component we're going to be learning about is Redstone Dust. Let's start off with by far the most important redstone component, Redstone Dust. Redstone dust can be found underground from Y15 to Y-64, or all the way to bedrock. One of the coolest things about redstone is how you can place it on blocks and use it like a wire to turn on and off redstone components. For example, we have this piston, which this redstone is powering. We'll get to the piston later. With redstone, you have to go directly into the piston. See, this line is not going directly in the piston, so it won't power it, unlike this line, which is going directly into that piston. Another cool thing about redstone is how you can use it to snake up blocks. You can see I have this block tower that goes up one at a time, and the redstone can just go right up the block. It won't work if you try to do two or more, but it can go up one block at a time. The last cool thing we need to know about redstone is how far it works. When I flip this lever, I power this redstone, and it goes up to 15 blocks away. It won't go more than 15 blocks unless we use repeaters or something else, which we'll get to in a minute. But as far as redstone goes, I think we've got the basics down. Let's move on to another crucial redstone component, the Redstone Torch. Let me show you one of the most important redstone components, the Redstone Torch. On the left, we have the crafting recipe, which is just a stick and a redstone on top, and that will give you the Redstone Torch. The Redstone Torch is unlike redstone in that it can be placed on blocks, but it also can be placed on the side of blocks. What I'm trying to show you here is that redstone torches will power everything around them that they touch, above and the sides, and even below. Alright, the cool thing about redstone torch and why they're so important is that when they're powered, when you put power into them, they turn off. That makes it to where you can alternate whether they're on or off. One of the most useful adaptations of this is a redstone torch tower, where you have a tower going up, and if I power this, then it will alternate all the torches and turn that on. Do keep in mind that there is a tick delay when you turn on and off redstone torches. So if you have a long tower, there might be some delay. But I think that's pretty much it about redstone torches. Now let's talk about repeaters. Up next, we have the redstone repeater. On my left, you can see the crafting recipe. 3 stone on the bottom, redstone torches on either side, and a redstone dust in the middle. The redstone repeater can be placed on the ground like redstone. It can't be placed on the side of blocks or anything like that though. The redstone repeater has 4 settings, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each setting corresponds to a delay we call ticks. A tick is a 0.05 delay. So it'll be 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, and 0.2. That's kind of hard to visualize, so I put this together to kind of show us the delay. So each lamp should go sequentially, and it'll just be one at a time with 0.2 seconds of delay because they're on the 4th setting. Boom. Just like that, that's how it works. Another thing about the repeater is it's one directional. When I flick this lever, the redstone goes through because the repeater is facing that way. If I were to put the lever here, it would go forwards through these repeaters, but this repeater is not going to let it go backwards, which is another important thing to note. The last thing about repeaters is, as we said, redstone has a 15 block range limit. You can go 15 blocks. When we add a repeater, we can make that another 15 blocks and just so on and so forth. It can go infinitely as long as you have a repeater every 15 blocks. I think that's all you need to know about repeaters. Let's move on to comparators. Next up, we have the comparator. On the left is the crafting recipe. You have 3 stone on the bottom, redstone torches left and right, another quartz in the middle, and then a redstone torch up top. This is the comparator. It has 2 modes. It has compare and subtract, and we'll get into those later. But right now, we're just going to talk about the basic function. So basically, the comparator can observe blocks and see how many items they have in them and correlate that to a redstone signal strength. I know that's confusing, and there's a huge long chart of how to do things and how many items do what, and I'll put it on screen now, but I'm going to try to keep it simple and just show you. So there's there's 3 stacks, which is enough to have 2 signal strength out of this repeater, so it'll go further because there's more items, which correlates to more distance. The comparator works on a lot of blocks, not just chests like we have in this example over here. It works on a lot of blocks. As you can see, these all have something in them, so they give an output through the comparator, and you can see that's an 8, that's a 3. I put on a resource pack because it's a lot easier to see the distance. And speaking of, we're going to talk about the next function of repeaters is comparison. So as you can see, the line going in the back of the comparator is a 15 strength right now, and the line going into the side is a 14. So the comparator allows it to go through because the line in the back is bigger than the line going into the side. It also works on both sides. It doesn't matter if you go left or right. So the line in the back is bigger than the side, so it works. In this example, we put the line in the side at a 15, and in the back, it's a 14. So the comparator is not letting it through because it is not as big coming from the back as it is from the side. And that's the basics on comparison. There's some fun things to do there, but we're just basics here. And then the other mode is subtraction. So as you can see again, the line going in the back is a 15, and the line going in the side is a 13. So the comparator is going to take what it's receiving over here, subtract it from what's going in the side, and it will put out a 2 because 15 minus 3 is a 2. The comparator is really complicated, but I think that's most of the basics, and let's move on. Let's talk about buttons, levers, and all the other ways to put out a redstone signal. The first we'll start with is the lever. There's a stick and a cobblestone, and the lever has 2 states, on and off. That's all you really need to know about the lever. You'll turn it on, the redstone will stay on for as long as you want it to until you turn it off. Next we have the wooden button, which is just 1 oak plank and anywhere in the crafting table. When you click the button, it'll stay on for 1.5 seconds because it's wooden. So see, click it, 1.5 seconds of on. Next up is the stone button. When I click this one, it'll only be on for 1 second, so slightly less than the wooden button, but it works the exact same way. Yep, you see, slightly less. Next we have the wooden pressure plate, which is anything that steps on it, any entity, will activate the redstone. As you can see, the redstone lamp is on. And yeah, once I get off, I have 1 second extra of it being on. As you can see, any entity, arrows count as entities. So that entity's on that wooden pressure plate, it stays on. Next up, we got the stone pressure plate, which is just 2 stone anywhere on the crafting table. And as you can see on this one, it works the exact same way. It stays on the same length, but no other entities other than players will activate this. So only players will activate stone pressure plates. Next, we have the weighted pressure plates. This is the light weighted pressure plate. This is the heavy weighted pressure plate. And there's a big chart telling you how many entities will do what, which I'll put on screen now. It's pretty big, but yeah, basically just depending on how many entities are on each pressure plate is how much power they'll give off and how easy they are to use. Also, yeah, 0.5 seconds. So once I step on it, if I step off, only half a second of redstone power is going through. Next up, we got the tripwire hook. Basically, the tripwire hook, when you connect 2 tripwire hook with string, anything that walks in between will activate and send a redstone signal because it detects that there's something in between. Next up, we got the target block. The target block detects when it's hit, and it can send a redstone signal when it gets hit with something like this. I'm going to shoot it with an arrow, and you can see it activates that redstone for a short bit and lights that lamp. The target block signal depends on where you hit it. If I hit it on the very edge, it'll send like a 1. If I hit it right in the middle, it'll send a 15. You can see by how bright the redstone is. Next up, we have the skulk sensor, which you can only find in the deep dark. You can't craft it. Basically, the skulk sensor, when it hears any sound you make, like that's breaking a block, placing a block, or jumping or walking, it'll see that and then it'll send a redstone signal. I'm going to destroy it because it's really annoying. Next up, we have the lectern. So the lectern can, if you use a comparator, which we talked about earlier, The lectern can send a redstone signal based on what page the book on the lectern is. So you can see it's on 1, so it's going to send a signal strength of 1. 2, so it's going to send a signal strength of 2. So on and so forth, all the way up to 15. So that way you can kind of choose how far of a redstone signal you want, but you only have to do it in 3 blocks. And then if we combine that with the calibrated skulk sensor, which is just a skulk sensor with 3 amethyst shards, then you can set a calibrated skulk sensor to a setting, which there's 15 settings, which I'll put on screen right now. You can see you have to give the skulk sensor a certain power that correlates to all those settings. Like right now, I have the book on page 2, which correlates to player's landing, so I can walk, I can place blocks, I can break blocks, I can shoot arrows, I can do anything I want. But if I land on a surface, like setting 2 is, then it activates. But I think that's pretty much every input in the game. Next, we have 2 very similar blocks, the dispenser and the dropper. Next up, we have the dispenser. The dispenser crafting recipe is here on the left. You have 7 cobblestone all the way around, a bow in the middle, and a redstone dust at the bottom. And then this is what the block looks like. It's basically just cobblestone with some other fun things added in. The main function of the dispenser is to shoot or interact with items placed inside. So we have arrows placed inside here. So when I click this button, it'll shoot an arrow out because that's what the dispenser does. It can also interact with other items, like I was saying. Like if I have a water bucket in there, it will put water, and then I click it again, and it puts the water back in. There's a ton of uses for dispensers, so I'll put the list on screen right now. There's a lot of uses, and there's a lot to read, so if you need to pause it, go right ahead. Next up, we have the dropper. The dropper is a very similar crafting recipe. It has 7 cobblestone, nothing in the middle, and a redstone dust at the bottom. It looks almost the exact same as the dispenser, except for this triangle hole instead of a circle hole like the dispenser. The main difference is that the dropper does not interact with or shoot objects. It just drops them as the item that is put in. So you see we have arrows here, and the dispenser would have launched the arrow out, like it shot it like an arrow out of a bow, but the dropper will just drop it out like an item. That's all the dropper does. And then the other main thing you need to know about the dropper is that you can see there's redstone in here. There's nothing in this chest above. But when I power this dropper, it'll put a redstone straight into that chest. It'll just go straight into the inventory, which is super useful for moving things vertically. And yeah, I think that's all we need to know. Let's move on to our next blocks, the regular and sticky piston. Now, let's talk about the piston. The piston is crafted like this. There's 3 wood on top, 4 cobblestone, an iron in the middle, and redstone on the bottom. This is what the piston looks like. The piston, when powered, activates this arm, which moves blocks whichever way the piston is facing. When you unpower it, it's not taken with them. The piston must be powered directly. You can see this redstone line is not going directly into the piston, so it will not work. Another interesting thing to know about the piston, it has a 12 block push limit. On top of this piston, there's 12 blocks. When I flick this lever, it'll work. If I try to add 1 more block to make it 13 blocks, it no longer works. It has a 12 block push limit. Another thing pistons can't move is immovable blocks. There's a bunch of movable blocks. This is just a couple examples, but as you can see, the piston will not move these. These are examples. There's a bunch, which I'll put on screen right now. And yeah, that's a good thing to note if you're trying to do anything with pistons and you don't want it to break. But other than that, don't try to push them. And then we have the sticky piston. The sticky piston is crafted by putting a piston in the bottom and then a slime ball right on top of it, which you can find from killing slime in the overworld. Sticky piston works almost the exact same way, that when you power it, this arm extends and it pushes a block up, but when you unpower it, it brings it back down. The sticky piston will only bring back the block that is attached to the face. It will not bring back any blocks above it. And then just like the normal piston, if you're not powering it directly, it will not work. Pistons are extremely useful, and I think that's all I need to know about them. Up next, we have the observer. Let's move on to the observer. On my left here, we have the crafting recipe of 6 cobblestone on the tops and bottoms, another quartz on the left, and redstone on the right and in the middle. This is what the observer looks like. The observer is a super useful block. It basically can detect or, well, observe the states of blocks in the game. So as you can see, we have this observer pointed at this redstone line. When it's powered, it sends a signal and it observes it and it sends a redstone pulse. But also it pulses when it changes back to being off. So for every input, you'll get 2 inputs. This is really important that you think about that because it's sometimes really annoying to deal with, but there's workarounds. But that's not today's video. That'll be the next video, which is tips and tricks about redstone. So if you want to watch that one, you should like and subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss that video. But yeah, as I was saying, the observer can also detect block states, so it can see this crop, and if it grows, it'll pulse because it watched that grow. It observed it, and it'll send a redstone signal. Another important thing to know about the observer is that it's not treated like a full block. So you can see this redstone is activated, but it won't go down the blocks even though it looks like it should. And that's because it's not treated as a full block. I think that's all you need to know about observers. Let's move on to the hopper. Let's talk about the hopper. On my left here is the crafting recipe for the hopper. It's 5 iron in a funnel and a chest in the middle. This is what the hopper looks like. The hopper is used to get blocks from one place to another. So if I place blocks in one chest, I can have a line of hoppers that brings them all the way from one chest to another chest or any other place I want them to be. I can demonstrate that right now. So I'm going to put these oak logs in this chest, and you can see they're funneling out, they're going through this hopper and into this chest. Hoppers can also be locked by powering them with redstone. Because I activated the redstone line, this hopper is no longer going to let items through. You can see the progression stopped and no more items are coming through until I unpower it, then it resumes as normal. Next up is hopper prioritization. So there's 1 input chest up here and 2 output chests up here. If I put all the items in this input chest, you can see they funnel out. But you will find this chest empty until this chest becomes full. A really important thing to note is that hoppers will always go down before they go sideways. Hoppers prioritize going downwards, and then once they're full, then it will move on to sideways. Here's a good example of blocks that can interact with hoppers. There's a couple more, but this is most of them. If you put anything in these hoppers, they can go into these inventories. Hoppers can pretty much interact with any block with an inventory if you're curious. And then the last thing you know about hoppers, which is really important, is it matters how you place them. If I place this hopper on the ground, you can see the funnel going into the ground. And that is important because if I want it to go in this chest and I place it like that, now it will not go in this chest. The funnel has to be facing into what you want it to go to for it to work. But yeah, I think that's everything about hoppers. Next up, the slime block. Let's talk about slime. The slime crafting recipe is 9 slime balls in a crafting table, and you can get slime balls from killing slime in the overworld. This is what a slime block looks like. The main function is that you can make it to where you can push more than 1 block with 1 piston. You can see I have 1 sticky piston here, and if I flick this lever, boom, all these blocks move because they're connected to a slime block. But you still have to obey the 12 block piston push limit, but it makes it a lot nicer that you can push 12 blocks with just 1 flick of a button. But also, yeah, I'll show you. You put a 13th block on there, not gonna work. Another thing we're going to talk about is slime and honey. Slime and honey work almost the exact same way, except for that they don't really interact with each other. They don't get stuck to each other. So I can push this slime, moves up and down, easy. I can do this honey, it moves up and down easy. They won't stick to each other, unlike how slime and honey will stick to pretty much every other block, except the immovable blocks that we talked about earlier, which I'll put on screen again. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all we need to know about slime. Now let's talk about minecarts and minecart adjacent blocks. Alright, let's talk about minecarts. The minecart crafting recipe is like a bowl of iron that's just 5 at the bottom. This is what the minecart looks like. Minecarts need to be set on rails, which is 6 iron, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, and a stick. You can sit in a minecart and you can use it as a source of transportation. But the rail by itself isn't very fast, which is why up next we have the powered rail. The powered rail is crafted with 3 gold on either side, a stick in the middle, and a redstone dust. Now, if I sit in this minecart and I power these rails, boom, now I'm moving with speed and velocity. Yeah. And if I unpower it, then it'll stop. Also, powered rails work 12 blocks away. So if I power this rail, then this rail and 11 more rails will be powered from that. You don't have to power every rail individually, which is really nice. The next one we're going to talk about is the detector rail, which is 3 iron on the left, 3 iron on the right, a stone pressure plate in the middle, and a redstone dust in the bottom. This rail just detects if anything's on it. So as you can see, I'm going to push the minecart on top of it, and then you can get a redstone signal out from under it. If I move the minecart off of it very slowly, boom. Oh gosh. The redstone goes away because it's not detecting anything. Next up, we have the activator rail, which is 3 iron on the left, 3 iron on the right, sticks at the bottom and the top, and a redstone torch in the middle. The activator rail will eject any player or mob inside of it, inside of a minecart on top of it. And the other main feature is that we'll light TNT minecarts, which we'll talk about later. We'll get to that. But as you can see, if I flick this lever, power the activator rail, and then my minecart goes on top of it, it automatically kicks me out. I didn't do anything, it just kicked me out automatically. And then we have the hopper minecart. It basically just works as a mobile hopper. So if I put 64 logs in there, it'll start slowly loading it into the hopper minecart, which you can interact with. It does have an interface. And then if I move the hopper minecart over, you can see it will unload what it has into this hopper, into this chest. It's pretty much just a mobile hopper. And yeah. Next up, we have the chest minecart. It's just a chest and a minecart. Works the exact same as a chest, except for it's mobile. All right. Next up, we have the furnace minecart, which is really situational, but it's kind of cool. Here, if I grab some coal, you can see the furnace minecart doesn't really do much until you put anything smeltable in it, and then it will power itself and just go, go, go. The reason this is useful is that if I'm in a minecart, the furnace minecart will also propel me. Yeah, it's pretty situational, but it's pretty cool too. And then last but certainly not least, we have the TNT minecart, which is crafted just the TNT, a minecart. The TNT minecart can do a lot of damage. It's like normal TNT, but its damage scales to how fast it's going or like how far it's fallen. So if I flick this switch, you'll see the TNT minecart go up and explode, and it's gonna mess everything up. So yeah, let's do it. Boom. So any drops or an activator will act minecart with the TNT. But yeah, I think that's all about minecarts. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the crafter. And last up, we have the crafter. So the crafter is crafted based like a helmet of iron, a crafting table in the middle, redstone dust in the bottom corners, and then dropper in the middle. And this is what it looks like. It's a pretty cool block. It's like a mechanical crafting table. And basically, it's pretty simple. So as far as it goes, it looks like a normal crafting table, but you can click to disable slots so that items will not go in there when you use hoppers or other ways to get items in here. Also, just be aware that when you disable slots, that still does give an output, so factor that in. So when you put items in, let's say we're trying to craft a stick right now. See, we have a stick, but we can't just take it out. That's not how the crafter works. We have to power it with redstone, and then it will craft it for us. And that's basically the function of the crafter. The other important thing to note is that it comes out whatever this side is. So no matter which way you place it, it'll come out this side, or a hopper will take it out from below. But I think that's it. And also, I've joked about it a bunch, but if y'all really wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, that would be huge, because I'm really just trying to get going. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.